2 of my challenge. I'm trying to reach the rating of 2000 by the end of the year, and today there are 6 games. This is how to win quickly at chess. Let's go. We have the black pieces, and wait a second, I think I see my rating. 897, we're close already to 1000 ELO. Okay, so they push a pawn a bit shy. I usually prefer to push the pawns 2-step. Every time they don't go with a pawn in the center, you can go with a BC, big brain chess. No, I'm a big boy center, whatever, strong center, you know? So you put the pawns, they are really strong, and now it's very easy. You go out first. Oh, wait, not within this knight, because there is a problem. There is a bishop attacking this pawn, so you will have to protect it this way. And if your opponent doesn't disturb you in any way, you can just develop your pieces. So you first go out with the knights, and then with the bishops, and then you castle, and it's going to be fine. In this case, they're attacking this pawn once and twice, so we have to protect it one more time, and that's what we do. Now, they could play a very strong move, going with the bishop here, because they are pinning our knight, which is defending the pawn. And this we have to be really careful, because now they're just threatening to take. So we have to find a way to defend this pawn one more time. We have a few ways. 1, we could defend it with the queen. 2, we could defend it with the pawn. 3, we could unpin this knight, playing, for example, bishop d7. The problem of this move is that after bing bong, we lose the pawn, because the knight is no longer there. That's why we have to consider queen there, or f6, like the only possibilities. Now, it's better to have the queen here, or it's better to play the pawn on f6. I prefer to play queen e7. I'm protecting this pawn like this, because I want to go with the knight there. Again, we take back with the knight immediately. We saw already that this is not really a problem, because the important is that I'm castling now on the king side. Now I just develop the knight and castle, and I will have a good position. Okay, they're also castling, and let's go, we castle. Very peaceful. What I wanted to say is that I prefer to have the queen here instead of the pawn there, because that square is the natural square of a knight. Remember, don't go with the knight on the side, don't go with the knight shy, go on the knight towards the center. Now the rook is going into this file that might be opened. I have not another piece to be developed, and I go. This is another pin, and it's a very powerful pin, because if this knight is moving, there is a queen behind that is hanging. So here I have a big threat. Ooh. And my opponent is offering this move on a plate of silver plate. So I'm attacking this I was attacking this knight with the pawn, and the knight was about to be lost. There was a way that my opponent had here to defend this, and it's to play the move h3, saying that if I take with the pawn the knight, they take with the pawn my bishop. It's still very bad, because the king is also going to be exposed, but that's the way to defend from this pin. Now, I'm just taking the queen for free. I'm very happy, and I will try to give a checkmate very quickly. How to give a quick checkmate? I see already a bishop pointing there, so what if I bring also the knight and maybe even the queen to the attack? That could be really nice. Okay, they go like this. I think it's time to bring the queen. If they take... Wait, I'm not giving mate. I wonder. I thought it was mate, but the king is running away. Oh, okay. Okay, that was a blunder. We will try to bring then another piece to the attack. We will try to bring the rook. We need some help. So I'm pushing this pawn. I want to take there, or they can trade, whatever they want. And now we do it. I'm taking there. The king is trying to run away. Woo! This is something that you have to add in the never to-do list. Never push the pawns in front of your king. Here, my opponent is just helping me. I would love to open up the files and to give mates. And that's what they're helping me to do. I'm taking there. Not even thinking about. Okay, and now I can take there with the pawn, with the rook. I can give a check first. So many ideas. I will take with the pawn. I'm giving mate. It's mating in 1, 2, 2. Ooh. Okay, it's no mates, because I wanted to sacrifice. I thought like, okay, check here, it's mates, but there is a knight controlling. Then I said, okay, no problem. We go with the queen here, but the knight is also taking there. So attention, the knights are really good defender of the king. They are defending really well, because they are controlling lots of square nearby. Now I'm leading towards this square nearby, which is not controlled. So the only way to avoid this checkmate would be to move the rook. I would have moved the rook in a bit a different square, because now the rook can just be taken by the knights, and now we can also take there with the rook or with the queen. I mean, both are good. The king will run here. Let's take with the rook. I like it. Let's see where the king goes. Yeah, the king is now approaching the center of the board. Once you want to find a checkmate, you need to keep in mind where the king can still go. So this pawn is controlling those two squares. The rook is controlling those squares. So the king has still this square to go. But if I take this pawn with the queen, that would be checkmate. That's why I played the move rook here, and I'm threatening mate in one. There is just one move that is protecting it, and is rook here. You also have to watch out for checks. Ooh, well, okay, we can give mate with a rook, with a queen, or with a rook, but I like the rook mate. Guys, I guess we might get to 1000 ELO already. How to get to 1000? This is really important. 1, you put a pawn in the center. 2, you develop your pieces, you castle. And 3, grab the free pieces that your opponent is offering you. This is all we need. Okay, they're attacking a pawn. We protect it with the knight. This is now the main line. Okay, this is really a shy move, a move that I don't like. I consider this move bad, because it's blocking the bishop from going out. Instead, what I do, I bring my bishop out, attacking the most vulnerable point for white. This little pawn, because this pawn is protected just by the king. This move is shy again, because they want to develop the bishop in fianchetto. Okay, I will let you do that. I will just keep going with my development, bringing the knight out, and then, I mean, maybe pushing the pawn of 2 steps already. Okay, I will go 1 step, because I really want to show you that you just gotta develop your pieces and castle. Okay, we'll first go with castle, and then we will bring the bishop here. Okay, they are pinning our knights, but I don't care. I will pin their knight. This is more important. Okay, and now we go with the move h6. I'm asking a question to this bishop. If they take, you can be happy, because they are giving away 1 bishop for a knight. They are also activating your queen. I'm attacking this knight 1 more time. I'm getting rid of the pin. That's really good. Now you might say, Alessia, we are at move 10. We have developed all our pieces. We have castled. And our opponent didn't blunder any single piece, so you're lying to us. Well, they played well, okay? We have to go to step number 2. We are in the middle game. All our pieces are developed. Our king is into safety. We have to find a plan. What can we do? I think in this kind of situation, a very good plan could be to play the move d5. This is something very typical in all the structure with e4, e5. If you can play the move d5, you're going to trade a pawn, a central pawn of your opponent, a very strong central pawn, and activate all your pieces. But before doing that move, you have to prepare it. Now, if we push, this would be just a free cheese macaroni for our opponent. We don't want to do that, so we bring a rook to the center, ready to strike. And if we understand that after the move d5, all these 2 files are going to open up, what we can do, prophylactically, we bring our rooks to these 2 files, so they are ready once the files are open to join the party. This is a very smart move, because they are asking a question to this bishop. What do you want to do in your life? Do you want to go back here and keep the pin? Do you want to trade for a knight, or do you want to go back? I will keep the pin. I think this is really annoying to deal with. Now, if they play the move g4, we might have a new idea. Because this king is starting to be really weak, those pawns are potentially weak. We have to go back with the bishop here. But this can be a target. Already I see a hole. Every time the pawn are pushed, they create holes around the square next to them. This is a hole, because if I put a knight there, cannot be kicked by a pawn anymore. The pawn cannot attack it. Now, there is a move here. Every time your opponent plays a move, ask yourself, what is their idea? And in this case, their idea is to lose a pawn, because this pawn is attacked by 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces of ours, and it's just protected twice. So we can safely take it. Always make sure that it's not a trap, but in this case, it's just a free cheese macaroni. The pawn we will take back with the knight, and we just won a pawn. We take back with the knight, because in open positions, once meaning that the center is not blocked, you like a lot the bishop, because the bishops are pieces that are looking far. They are moving from one side of the board to the other really quickly. For example, now the knight is attacking this bishop. I could take there. I will take here. So also the queen is a far away piece because it's protecting this bishop for really far away. Instead, the knight is just controlling squares that are close to the knight. There we go. The knight is not controlling this square. No way, no chance. Now I'm also taking here, and you see the power of the two bishops. They are controlling all the squares. Look at this. Now this rook is just lost because there is not a square where the rook can go. And I think that's the perfect example to show the power of the bishop pair. Because the two bishops together are particularly strong because they can really remove all the squares. In this case to a rook, but it can be sometimes to the king. In fact, there are lots of examples of checkmate with just two bishops. Now the rook is attacking the bishop, and I guess we'll simply take the rook. Bang! Now the queen has to take back, and we have an exchange up. Every time you have a rook, you capture the rook in exchange of a piece, you're exchange, and I just resigned. GG's. New game, everybody. We have the white pieces, and we go with a pawn in the center. I don't know why, but this opening, the Scandinavian defense, is so typical among beginners. I don't understand why. Because you're bringing the queen out way too early. Maybe they like it because they think the queen is a powerful piece. But that's a mistake. Because the queen, well, the queen is your most valuable piece. But that's why you need to protect it. It's like going to a war and you send the king as the first soldier. That's not a smart idea because you might be without a king really soon. Now, this queen is now running a bit down behind, but is blocking the bishop from going out. And that's not a good idea. I will put a pawn in the center. Look at my development. I place the knights in perfect squares. The bishop is attacking this pawn. No way. Guys, here I missed a huge tactics. No. Sorry. I could have taken there. And after king takes, I have a giga knight fork. That could have been so beautiful. But now I don't have it anymore because the pawn is blocking my bishop. Okay, fine, we will castle. But that was really a pity, but keep it in mind, the queen here is really awkward. And that's why I didn't see it, because it's not something typical that happens. You don't expect the queen to be there. As the king is stuck here, I will play the move d5. Bang! Boom! Opening up the center. Maybe that was a mistake. Because after this, yeah, that was a mistake. Because now my pawn is hanging. It's attacked 1, 2, 3 times and is protected just 1 and 2. Okay, this capture is now bad. Taking with the pawn is bad. You should have taken with the knight, and after I take with the queen, and after I take with the pawn, because now this file is open, but it's much better if the file is open and there are no queen, no bishop, no pieces. Because the king, towards the end of the game, when there are not so many pieces, is not so weak at the center. Actually, the king has to go to the center in the end game. Okay, now this knight is self-pinning because the king behind is hanging. We can take this pawn, and this knight is now free. Attack through the... That's a free queen. And you can be very happy when this happens. As you can see, a player of 1077 is still blundering a queen in not such a hard way. That's why I really believe that to get to 1000 ELO, what you have to do is to learn how to play the opening. Not to learn precise openings, but just learn the general principle. Bring out your pieces, control the center, develop. It will be alright. And then get the free pieces. It's gonna be alright. We take a free knight, we snap it with the queen, with the rook, whatever, how you want it. And now I will try to show you how to checkmate the king on h7 if we have the chance to do that. Or maybe I will show you an even more, a nicer mate. Okay, guys, are you ready? I will go with the queen there, and I will say, oh, no, my queen. I'm offering the queen to my opponent to give a back rank mate. If they take, I will slide with the rook here, and it's mate. And if they don't take, their rook is in danger. And I don't see a simple way to defend the rook. The only way that I see for the rook to escape here, but then I go with the check there, the rook takes, and is still mate. Okay, the knight is controlling. This is a great move, but now I can slide my rook there. I'm attacking the rook one more time. And again, they have to be really careful. They have a way to save them. Wow, they found it. That's great. I must say that. It's a great idea to save the mate. Uh-oh, they disconnected. Did they disconnect? Okay, I think I will go with the knight there. Oh, no way. Okay, they just resigned. I was trying to find a way to give mate. I was thinking about knight there, and then knight here. And then take with the knight the rook, and then use the rook and the queen to deliver checkmate. So one thing we notice between players over at around 1,000 is that they don't let you checkmate them, they resign. But you see, everyone plays this opening. Ah, okay. You just take the pawn, they take back with the queen, and you attack the queen. I know there are so many squares for the queen to go. The main move, according to grandmasters, is to go with the queen there, because the queen cannot be attacked easily from there. Instead, going with the queen there is really bad. Because the queen is so exposed. So, for example, now I'm attacking the queen with the other knight. And the queen already cannot move in any of these central squares, so needs to go away. But now I've developed 2 knights, and they have developed the queen. Yes, that will be attacked even more times in the future. Now I'm going with the bishop out, attacking the most vulnerable point, the f7, because this pawn is protected just by the king. And we can already see some ideas. I'm thinking if sacrificing would work, but doesn't bring anything. So I will go with a pawn in the center, keep developing my pieces, ready to go with the bishop out if needed. And now you know what? That's why I developed really well. I can push in the center. I'm attacking one more time this bishop that has to move, winning another tempo. Every time you attack a piece of every time you attack a piece of high value with a piece of lower value, in this case a pawn attacking the bishop, you force your opponent to move that piece one more time if they don't want to lose material. And so it's a really good idea. Also, we took the center. Now it's not easy to develop the knight there. And I think we will just castle. That's great. We just castle. We might keep going with the bishop there. I didn't want to do this move because this pawn would be hanging. So I wasn't sure. Maybe soon anyway. Alright, so I will show you guys why this pawn is poisoned. I'm attacking the queen, and many times the queen might be trapped if you dare to take that pawn. Now I will go with the knight there. I'm threatening a fork, and this queen is running really out of squares. Already the queen cannot go there because there is the knight, cannot go here because there is the bishop. And the queen can take this pawn, cannot go there, of course. Okay, so we can just go to win a rook. That's it. I mean, we will do that unless we have a chance to win the queen, but I don't see it. I was thinking about a move like bishop there, but the queen could take there, so we'll just go there and take the rook, and we are really happy. I mean, winning a rook in 11 moves, it's not a bad deal. And I just resigned, guys. That's no. Okay, it's fine. They lost a rook, and they just say, I hate this game. E4. If they play d5, okay, good. Raoul. We go with the knight out, we're attacking this pawn. And I play the Italian game. Usually I play the Spanish, but I think we can show the Friedliber, because this is a very annoying idea. It shows the power of attacking this pawn that is protected just by the king. Now let's see how prepared Raoul is. People think, while if you watch lots of YouTube videos, that all your opponents will be so prepared, they all watch YouTube videos and they all learn all the things that you're learning, but that's not true. Not everyone knows that there is just one move here to save black, and it's the move d5. Now, will my opponent find this move? Usually, either you know this, or it will be really tough to find it on the board. Will Raoul surprise everyone and find the move d5, the only move saving black from this very annoying threat of taking you with the knight and giving the fork?
2 minutes later.
Wow, Raoul found it! d5! But now they have another problem, because once I take, there is just one move. What? So, okay, so they took 2 minutes to think, and now they blitzed out the 2 best moves? That's interesting, let's put it this way. I'm giving a check. I don't know what is happening here, but now it's like if they, the machine, the monster was awakened. Because they're playing like very fast now. They thought for like 2.5 minutes at move 4, and now they're playing so quickly. Okay, so now, whatever, we focus on our moves. There is a knight under attack by the queen. There is a pawn hanging for us. We could consider taking here. What to do? I think I will take there with the queen. I'm giving a check, and now they cover with the queen. Okay. I'll take here because it's a check, and I'm wondering, how are you going to take back like this? Smart. Okay, I'll take also here. And now I take this pawn. So after all, I have 2 extra pawns in this position. So even, I don't know what they did there, when they had like 2 minutes, really 2 minutes 19, they thought for one single move, and then they started to be so quickly. Now I'm giving a check to the king, and then I'm going to castle, probably. Depends if they go with the king up, maybe not. Now I'm castling, and I leave this knight unprotected, that's true. But I can simply go backwards. Yeah, I can simply go with the knight here. And it's true that usually you shouldn't go backwards with the knights. But in this position, I have 2 extra pawns. I've got 2 extra pawns. And so it's okay to give your opponent... You might have given your opponent some chances, because I wasted some tempo with the knight to go there, take a pawn, and then I had to go all the way back. So in the meantime, my opponent could activate their pieces. And so that's quite normal. Now, this move is not good, because every time a piece goes forward but is not protected, you have to be really careful. And you see, this knight is in the same diagonal as the bishop, so now I can push it. And I'm attacking at the same time this knight and this other poor knight. So one of them might have to leave us. Rip knight on f4. Now we take back, we are developing a piece, and I simply resign. Final game. Those games are really going so quickly, but I cannot get to 2000 in 2 days. So let's go. E45, we respond. I really suggest you to start playing chess by playing E45 and D45, just to respond with a pawn in the center. Now they are developing the bishop, already attacking this pawn, and here we go with the knight out, attacking the pawn in the center. They protected with the pawn, so we go with the other knight out. And then we will develop the bishop and maybe push even on d5. Okay, let's go with the bishop out, because now they play the move c3, so I was shortly checking. Can they play the move d4? Okay, so the idea of their move c3 is to go with the queen out to attack this pawn, but that's just a trick. Because I can simply long castle, put my king to security, and I'm protecting now this pawn also with the rook. That's the power of castle. Okay, and now the queen there is really not so good. Sometimes I'm speechless, because I don't understand, and this is something that I really want to show you. This knight here is much less strong than the knight here, because the knight from the side of the board is just controlling 1, 2, 3, 4 squares. A knight here in this square would be controlling 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Much more important square, also like 2 central squares. So it's much stronger. Now, what to do to exploit it? We could simply keep developing our pieces. Sometimes you don't even need to exploit it immediately. You can just keep playing good moves. And at some point your position is so much better that your opponent is collapsing. So we just keep doing that. We just push a pawn and we are ready to develop our bishop. Maybe one day we will even take there. And we are going to take there just if they castle short. Because if they castle short, they have to take back with the pawn, and then the king will be really weak on the g file. Okay, so they're just playing for tricks. They want to go to take this pawn. That's what they want. That's quite clear right now. But I'll show you why this is a problem. No, I'm kidding. I thought like I could show you by taking there, and after king takes to give a discovery check, and then to win this knight, but the knight is protected by the bishop, so that tactic doesn't work. What to do? I was thinking about knight there, attacking the queen and the bishop, but maybe there is an in-between move. Bishop takes, I move the king away, and then the queen can move back, and then if I take... Oh, there is a fork. Okay, we can't do that, okay? I think we have to protect this pawn. We can protect it with the queen, we can protect it with pushing this pawn. That's maybe a great idea. Pushing this pawn, sacrificing it. Bishop takes, we take, but then the queen takes. Okay, we'll play queen there, just like this. Now, Zakirmsa could take this pawn, and in this case, we might have a trade of 2 minor pieces. So Mr. Knight and Mr. Bishop in exchange of a pawn and the rook. If you do the math right, you understand it is 3 plus 3 versus 1 plus 5, which is 6 points no matter what. But what's the difference? Every piece has a different power, and sometimes even if the trade is equal from a numeric point of view, the trade is not equal. Because look at the rooks in this case, in this position. The rooks are not playing, and this is what happens in the middle game. The rooks are usually not such strong pieces in the middle game as they are in the end game, where there are not so many pieces and the rook becomes super powerful. That's why in the middle game, you shouldn't trade 2 minor pieces for a rook and a pawn. That's why I would be really happy if they decide to take there. But they're thinking, and maybe they will not do it. They are just castling. Now, I could have the option to ask this knight, okay, now you went here, you attacked something that I simply protected, so I could invite you to just lose a tempo and go back home. Now, I'm putting them in front of the decision. Will they take or will they go back? Okay, they went back. So they know that probably that trade is not good, and they just go back. I think it's time for me to use the power of this fork to exploit the bad position of the queen, to attack the queen and the bishop at the same time. And in this position, I will be taking this bishop at the next move. Because usually it's really good in such position to take the bishop for a knight. In this precise position, I'm also winning a pawn because my opponent had to go on c2. From c2 was protecting this pawn, but now they lose a central pawn, which is a very important pawn. So I have already a very nice position here. If I could play 2 more moves, I would go with the bishop here, pinning this knight, and then with the queen there, attacking this one more time, and I really like my position. I go with the queen here, attacking the knight, but I can simply go back and I'm attacking the queen one more time, and the queen has to move. This is really called winning a tempo. My knight was anyway not safe. Every time I see a tactic while talking, I react in weird ways, I'm sorry. But that's a fork! That's a fork, baby! A pawn attacking 2 pieces at the same time. Wow! That's a great idea. Because I can't take, because there is a counter tactic. My queen is hanging behind the pawn. So if we take, would be a huge blunder. But I play bishop here. It's such a strong move. Pinning this knight. This is pin, counter pin, and pin of the pin. I love it. Fork, pin, and counter pin. Now I'm pinning this knight, so even if I can't take immediately, the knight cannot escape. So if I could play 2 moves, I would play probably rook here, protecting the queen, and then I would take the knight with the pawn. If I would be white, I would probably try to play the move h3. Okay, they do it. Attacking the bishop, and then it's nice because I might go there and they might play the move g4. But I don't think that move is good. I'll show you. There could be a sacrifice. So now the pin is still there. So my plan is still clear. I want to go with the rook here, protecting my queen, and then I will take the knight and I win a piece. What is this? Please, why? That's another free queen. Guys, you can get to 1200 by taking the 3 pieces. Well, it's not just that, because you have to build up a good position, put your opponent under pressure. But then usually they offer 3 pieces. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If yes, remember to like and subscribe. See you tomorrow for day 3 of this challenge. Here you have day 1. Here you have a video about the most important tactics that you have to know. This is really important. If you also want to raise your rating, see you guys tomorrow. Ciao!